I didn't scream at first. I froze, because I finally understood why they were both there. 6 months pregnant, alone, trapped in my own home. One woman wanted my husband, the other wanted me gone. There was boiling liquid on the stove, and hatred in their eyes. I thought no one knew what was happening. I was wrong. And that changed everything. I didn't scream at first, because my mind was still trying to understand why they were there. This was my home. My husband had left less than an hour ago. He kissed my forehead, touched my belly, and told our unborn daughter he'd be back soon. Nothing felt wrong then. But standing there, 6 months pregnant, I realized safety can disappear quietly. My mother-in-law, Margaret, stood near the kitchen counter like she owned the place. Her face was calm, too calm. Behind her was another woman, well-dressed, confident, completely out of place in my living room. She looked at me the way someone looks at something they plan to take. I tried to stay polite. I always did. "Christopher isn't home," I said carefully. Margaret smiled. "We know." That was when I noticed the stove, a large pot, steam rising, the smell sharp and heavy. My instincts screamed, but my body felt slow, heavy, pregnant. I didn't yet understand that this moment wasn't random. It wasn't anger. It wasn't impulse. This was planned. And the reason they hated me so much had nothing to do with who I was. It was about what I was carrying. Margaret walked closer, slow and deliberate, like she was measuring her steps. The other woman stayed back, leaning against the doorway with her arms crossed, watching me the way someone watches a show they already know the ending of. "You look tired," Margaret said lightly. "Pregnancy suits some women better than others." I said nothing. I'd learned silence kept things from getting worse. But my eyes kept drifting back to the stove. The pot was boiling harder now. The steam fogged the air, thick and wet, clinging to my skin. My heart started pounding, not panic yet, just instinct. The kind that whispers danger before your mind can explain why. The younger woman finally spoke. Her voice was smooth, almost amused. "You know," she said, "if you weren't around, Christopher's life would be very different." Margaret nodded, approving. I felt my throat tighten. I took a small step back, my heel bumping into the edge of the couch. "I don't understand," I said. "What do you want from me?" Margaret's smile vanished. "We want you to leave," she said coldly. "And if you won't?" Her eyes flicked, not to my face, but to my stomach. That's when fear finally arrived. Not for me. For my baby. My phone vibrated in my hand. Christopher's name lit up the screen. Relief rushed through me so fast it almost hurt. I answered immediately, forcing calm into my voice even as my heart hammered. "Hey," I said, "you okay?" "I just had a break," he said softly. "I wanted to hear you, and her." I smiled without realizing it, my hand instinctively resting on my belly. "She's quiet today," I whispered, "but she's listening." Behind me, a chair scraped against the floor. Margaret froze. The younger woman's eyes flicked to my phone. I turned slightly away, instinct screaming now. "Yes," Christopher was saying. "I'll be home early. Something feels off." Margaret's lips pressed into a thin line. That's when she spoke, too loudly, too suddenly. "You're still here?" Christopher's voice sharpened through the speaker. "Who's there?" My breath caught. I opened my mouth to answer, and the younger woman lunged. Her hand swiped toward my phone, nails grazing my fingers. I stumbled back, barely keeping my balance. "Give me that!" she snapped. "No!" I cried, clutching the phone to my chest. The line stayed open, and Christopher heard everything that came next. The phone slipped from my hand. It hit the floor face up, Christopher's voice still pouring out of it, shouting my name, louder each second. Neither of them noticed. Margaret's attention was fixed on me now, not my face, my stomach. "Enough," she said, her voice calm in a way that terrified me. "This ends today." I backed away until my legs hit the edge of the couch. My balance faltered. Panic exploded in my chest. "Please," I begged. "Whatever you want, just don't hurt my baby." Vanessa laughed, not nervously, not awkwardly. She laughed like she was finally watching the climax of a movie she'd paid to see. Margaret turned toward the stove. The steam from the pot rolled thick into the air, burning my eyes, my throat. She lifted it with both hands, surprisingly steady. Christopher was screaming through the phone now. I could hear it, but I couldn't reach it. My body reacted before my mind could. I curled forward, arms wrapping instinctively around my stomach, trying to shield the only thing that mattered. Margaret stepped closer. Her eyes were empty. "This," she said, lifting the pot higher, "is what happens when you don't know your place." And then she tipped it. The pain didn't come all at once. It exploded. Heat slammed into my arms first, then my chest, like my skin had been turned into glass and shattered from the inside. My scream tore out of me before I could stop it, raw, animal, unrecognizable. I fell to my knees. The world blurred. All I could smell was burning fabric and soup. My body shook violently as instinct took over. I didn't think. I didn't breathe. I protected my stomach. That was all that mattered. Through the ringing in my ears, I heard laughter. Vanessa's laughter. "Oh my God," she said breathlessly. "This is actually happening." Margaret stepped back, her breathing heavy, watching me like she was inspecting the damage she'd done. "Get up," she snapped. "Crying won't save you." I tried. My arms wouldn't work. My legs gave out. Somewhere nearby, my phone was still on, still connected. And suddenly, cutting through my screams, I heard Christopher's voice, broken and feral, coming through the speaker. "What did you do to her?" Silence fell. Margaret's face drained of color. Because in that moment, they finally understood something. They hadn't been alone. Christopher didn't ask questions. He didn't hesitate. He didn't even hang up. I heard movement through the phone, shouting, a chair scraping back, a door slamming so hard it cracked. His voice was shaking, but it wasn't fear anymore. It was fury. "I'm coming," he said. "Don't you touch her again." Margaret backed away slowly, the pot clanging as it slipped from her hands. Vanessa finally stopped smiling. "You didn't say the call was still on," she hissed at Margaret. "I didn't know," Margaret whispered, panic creeping in. I tried to crawl. My arms screamed in protest, my vision tunneling, but I dragged myself inch by inch toward my phone, toward his voice. "Stay awake," Christopher kept saying. "Talk to me, please, stay awake." Sirens howled faintly in the distance. Vanessa's confidence shattered. She paced the room, hands shaking now. "This wasn't supposed to happen like this," she muttered. "We were supposed to scare her." Margaret stared down at me, realization finally hitting. This wasn't control anymore. This was a crime. Then, outside, tires screeched. A car door slammed. Heavy footsteps thundered toward the house, and for the first time since I met her, my mother-in-law looked afraid. The front door didn't just open, it exploded inward. Christopher burst through it like a force of nature, his face unrecognizable. Rage, terror, love, all colliding at once. His eyes locked on me first, always me, and the sound he made when he saw my body on the floor still echoes in my chest. "Oh God, Penelope." He dropped to his knees beside me, hands hovering, afraid to touch, afraid to hurt me more. Tears streamed down his face as he pressed his forehead to mine. "I'm here," he whispered. "I've got you. I won't let them hurt you again." Then he stood, slowly, and turned to face his mother. Margaret opened her mouth. "Christopher, I can explain. You tried to kill my wife," he said, his voice deadly calm. "And my child." Vanessa backed toward the wall. "This is a misunderstanding." She slipped. "I heard everything," Christopher snapped. "Every word. Every laugh." Sirens screamed closer now. Margaret collapsed into a chair, shaking. Vanessa's phone slipped from her fingers and shattered on the floor. For the first time, no one was speaking over me. No one was laughing. They were finally out of excuses, and justice was seconds away. The ambulance had just left the driveway when Christopher's phone lit up. The recording. Every terrifying, evil word Margaret and Vanessa had spoken. The plot, the threats, the laughter at my pain, crystal clear. He played it for me on speaker, soft but steady. My heart raced. I knew the world needed to hear it. Not because I wanted revenge. No, it was proof. Proof that greed and obsession can turn even a mother into a monster. Christopher made the call. "Law enforcement, send officers immediately. I have evidence, attempted murder, boiling soup, pregnant victim, Full confession recorded. Within minutes, sirens pierced the air again. Officers stormed the house, taking statements, securing devices, reading Miranda rights. Margaret's face crumbled into disbelief. Vanessa's perfect composure was gone. Every calculated smile, every cruel glance, all unraveling. The media arrived next. Phone cameras flashed, neighbors whispered, social media notifications exploded. Every message, every photo, every text between Margaret and Vanessa exposing their conspiracy was now public. Christopher turned to me, holding my hand like I was fragile porcelain. "They'll never hurt you again. Not now, not ever." And in that moment, a terrifying ordeal transformed into the beginning of justice. For the first time since the attack, I could breathe. Fear was slowly leaving the room. The predators were cornered, and the world was watching. The courtroom was packed. Every seat full, cameras rolling, phones secretly recording. The world was watching now, not just neighbors or social media followers, but the justice system itself. Margaret and Vanessa walked in, faces pale, trying to maintain composure, but their arrogance had cracked. The prosecutor began, playing the phone recording. Every scream, every cruel laugh, every plotted word spilled into the room. The jury's expressions shifted from shock to disbelief. Margaret tried to whisper excuses, but the judge silenced her immediately. Vanessa's eyes darted to the floor, the charm she had relied on completely gone. Christopher and I sat together, my hand in his, feeling steady despite the scars, the pain, and the trauma. This was the moment the world would see the truth. He held my hand tight, whispering, "You survived, Penelope. They won't get away with this." The prosecutor laid out the text messages, the bank transfers, the plans, everything premeditated, everything documented. Margaret and Vanessa's scheme to harm me, to take our child, to destroy our family, every piece undeniable. By the time the judge delivered the verdict, there were tears, gasps, and disbelief. Margaret, 15 years. Vanessa, 12 years. Lifelong restraining orders. Every ounce of their power stripped away. For the first time, I felt relief. Real, deep relief. Justice wasn't just a word anymore. It was a living, breathing reality. Weeks passed, and the nightmare began to fade. Not completely. The scars reminded me daily, but the fear no longer ruled my life. Christopher and I moved to a new city, far from the chaos, far from the eyes that had watched us suffer. Our home was quiet, filled with soft sunlight, laughter, and hope. Hope, our daughter, was thriving. Every smile, every tiny hand reaching for mine, every coo reminded me of why I survived. She didn't know the terror she had escaped, but her very presence made every scar, every sleepless night, worth it. Christopher never left my side. His love had been unwavering in the hospital, in the courtroom, and now at home. We were partners, bonded not only by love but by survival. Together, we launched a foundation to help abuse survivors, especially pregnant women facing danger. Sharing our story became a mission, a way to protect others from the evil we had endured. I learned that strength isn't about revenge alone. It's about rising, healing, and building a life untainted by those who wish harm. Margaret and Vanessa were behind bars, powerless. Our family was safe, our love unbroken, and our hearts full. For the first time, I felt truly free. Life wasn't just surviving anymore, it was thriving, and this time, nothing could take that away.